This video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Farming Simulator 22 Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at North March Reloaded. But before that, this video is brought to you by Chris Miller and Alfredo. Thank you for being farm barons. So the North March Reloaded map can be found over at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu. And as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for PC players only. Now this is a tale of two maps, because we have two variants of North March Reloaded. We have variant 1, which is without decorative sheep, and variant 2, which is what we're going to be using for the map tour, with decorative sheep. Let's read some of the description. Hello from an area that I cannot pronounce. A little advice. This map has two versions. One version has 3 farms, a Lohner, which I have no idea what that means. I looked it up, didn't help at all. No decorative sheep, and then you can still add animals. Now, the area that I saw decorative sheep is on the outskirts of the map, in the unbuyable area. So I'm not really sure what he means by you can still add animals. Version 2 has 3 farms, a wage farmer, and decorative sheep. And you can no longer place animals there. But again, back to my earlier comment, the sheep are on the exterior of the map in unbuyable land, so I can't really see how you could put sheep there anyway. You now have a choice which version you want to play. The card is for medium-sized machines. Demolishing farms will result in a penalty. So this is something else that I noticed, and I'll talk about that here later on. There are 124 fields on the map, 13 sell points, 9 productions, a sawmill, great forest, 100 Elm Creek collectibles, livestock dealer. Animals on the map include chickens, pigs, and cows. There is buyable bulk seed and fertilizer, decorative trees, grass missions, and there are extra crops in millet, triticale, spelt, cash crop, and green rye. If you have any questions, then there's a link to his Discord in the description on the website. Now let's go ahead and load on in. Now we are going to be using the mods we typically use when we take a look at maps. That is additional field info, additional game settings, animal food overview, field lease, field calculator, and precision farming. In addition to that, there are several required mods. They include the Agricultural Fair, the Aunt Emma Shop, Cowshed 3+3, the Dutch Shed Pack, the Farmhouse Pack, Fish Farming, German Fire Station, half-timbered farm buildings, lizard liquid manure tank, medium metal haul machine, the wind turbine package, and the windmill. I will tell you, if you load this map up in farm manager mode or start from scratch, you'll find the farms are built out exactly how you're going to see them here in new farmer mode. In fact, you do have starting machinery in all play modes. Therefore, the only difference is you do not own any land in those alternate play modes, and of course your bank balances will adjust accordingly. When we load in for the very first time, we start here at the Kloss dealership, which is just down the road from our starting farm, which is off in the easterly direction. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at that PDA. See, we have quite a number of fields, all of various shapes and sizes. We do have all the standard crops available to us in Farm Sim 22, with the addition of millet, triticale, spelt, cover crop, green rye, and then we have our premium expansion crops, red beet, carrots, and parsnips. Let's go ahead and take a look at our lands. We start out by owning Farmland ID 251. That is the main starting farm, as well as Farmland ID 11, which is also going to be Field 11. In addition to these starting areas, we have an additional farm down here at Farmland ID 254 that can be bought for $297,000. All of these additional farms are going to support chickens, pigs, and cows. In fact, all 3 of these farms are basically built out the exact same. with a little exception to their orientation. We have another farm here at 253. They bought for $271,000. And a farmland ID here at 252. They bought for $281,000. We do have a BGA at farmland ID 240. That can be bought for $103,000. In addition to that, we do have some small buyable plots that are just scattered around the map. 242, 241, and 246. There may be a few, like 247. There may be a few others that I have not noticed during this preview. These mostly correspond to windmills that are placed on the map. You can buy the land, and if you do own the land, you can sell the windmills. There's going to be other areas where there's windmills scattered around. If you are on land that you own, you can sell the windmill that is there. Let's go and take a look at our farmland lease screen. This is going to show us all of the viable farmlands, how large those farmlands are, if those farmlands include any field or fields, what is included, then lastly, how much is that farmland going to cost us. As we can see so far, the farmland and field numbers are lining up one for one, starting at farmland 1 and working their way all the way up to farmland 123, where we have the final field. Then all of the other farmlands are listed here. They kind of jump 123 to 236. Taking a look at our field calculator screen, this will show us now the sizes of each particular field. Then we can go back and then cross-reference the farmland lease screen, see how much any one field is going to cost to purchase. Let's go ahead and take a look and see how the soil map is being applied to these fields. This map is making use of the generic soil map that is a part of the Precision Farming mod. Since we do have a high concentration of fields on this map, you get a really good picture of that generic soil map as it is applied to these fields. Let's go ahead and take a look at our crop counter. We do have the standard base game crop counter all the way down to where our new crop starts. We do have custom growth for millet, triticale, spelt, our cover crop, and green rye. Taking a look at our prices screen, we do indeed have the ability to sell all of our base game crops that are available to us in Farm Sim 22. In addition, we do have multiple sell points for eggs, wool, and milk, as well as silage, hay, straw, and grass. As we continue down through all of our base game productions, we do indeed, once again, have the ability to sell all of those base game production items that are, again, available to us in Farm Sim 22. With respect to lime, we do have the ability to buy and sell lime, as well as to get rid of our stones if we are playing with stones enabled. Now we get down to our custom crops. We have multiple sell points for millet, triticale, spelt. We do not have any way of selling green rye as it is currently placed. I'm not really sure what the purpose of green rye is. We will be taking a look and seeing if maybe it is a part of our animal food requirements here in a little bit. In addition, we do have the ability to sell all of the premium expansion and platinum expansion production items. So if you are looking to possibly put down some platinum expansion production facilities, do note you will be able to sell those. We have multiple sell points for our premium expansion items. We are playing with pumps and hoses activated, so we do have the ability of selling our separated manure. We do have the ability to do fish farming on this map, so we do have the ability to sell fish. In addition to that, we do have the ability to sell our pellets with straw harvest. Then we have our premium expansion crops, red beets, carrots, and parsnips. Taking a look at our starting fleet, we own all of our starting fleet. It is all well maintained and has 0 hours. None of it is leased. As far as animals go, I've gone ahead and purchased the other farms. So our starting farm is going to have chickens. The rest of the farms basically are going to have cow shed, chicken pasture, and pig barn. Cow shed, chicken pasture, pig barn. Cow shed, chicken pasture, pig barn. We do have contracts available to us on this map, and we do not own any production chains at the start. We do have, as I said, also in the description, the 100 Elm Creek collectibles. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting fleet. We started with the Fendt 714 Vario and the John Deere 7810 medium tractor. We have the Dithmarschen Topliner 4090H harvester. that is paired up the 4090H grain header, and then our 4090H header trailer. We have our 1986 pickup truck, as well as the Karat 140 TD trailer. We have the Agrimaz POV5 XL plow, as well as a Centino 4000 super cultivator. We have the HR 4040 Kuhn Power Harrow, as well as the Amazon KG 3001 Super Power Harrow. The Amazon Power Harrow is often paired up with the Cynthia 3000 Super Seeder. Then we have the DC 401 Subsoiler. We have the Hardy Navigator 4000 Delta Force Herbicide and Liquid Fertilizer Sprayer. We have the Amazon ZATS 3200 Solid Fertilizer Spreader. This one will not do lime. We have the GF8712 Tedder, as well as the Samez Z2 840H Windrower. We have the Zelon CFS 2501 DO Forage Wagon. We have the John Deere 643R front loader arms. And for the front loader arms, we have the Bale Spike. Now, taking a look at our mods and DLCs, this map does not have any custom vehicles or machinery that is included. Now, instead of tabbing over to our starting farm, I thought we'd just kind of fly over there instead. Get a little bit of altitude, get a little bit of a look around. You can see some of these fields that I mentioned that have the windmills in them. If you own the field, you can sell the windmill. And here we have our starting farm. So we have our farmhouse located right here with sleep trigger. And then all of the farms, except for this one, are laid out the exact same. So when we do get around to our farm tours, basically if you've seen one, you've seen the other three. We have our seed and mineral feed fertilizer located right here. It's currently empty. We have our machine shed with maintenance trigger. We're going to find our tractors. We do have diesel storage, a pressure washer, here we have slurry storage. We have our base game farm silo with our dump and fill point. Here we have a solid fertilizer storage tank. We have 2 bale and pallet storage sheds located right here. 250 each. We do have a windmill located on our farm that we can sell. Oddly enough, this building, which is a required mod, it cannot be sold on any farm, including this one. Kind of an interesting setup. I don't think it's by purpose. I think it's an accident. In fact, it kind of seems to imply that it's an accident, given the fact that every farm has that building and every farm cannot sell that building. If you do wish to sell various things on the farm, you'll see we've got these curbs. You're going to find these curbs on all other farms. If you sell the doghouse, the curbs are going to go away. So sell off the dog, and then all these concrete barriers and curbs, they will go away. You will then be able to more appropriately free place things around if you do want to rearrange. But let's go in here into build mode, because the description mentioned that selling the farms would give you a penalty. Well, you'll see right here. Selling this will negatively impact my bank balance. I will lose $52,500. But if I sell this building, $52,500. $58,500, $40,000. This one we can't sell at all. Now, I did find on some of the farms, there are things that you can sell and not lose money. For example, our farmhouse, $82,500 returned to our bank account. Profit for selling that. So if you do want to get rid of some things, do note, some things will cost money. Some things will earn you money if you sell them. Also here at the starting farm, we have a large build site kind of here behind the farmhouse and the large shed is also going to be available. While we're here, let's go ahead and take a look at our build mode. Do note that we do have several required mods, so we should see the build mode populated out with all of those required mods, like the Dutch shed pack, half-timbered machine hall. We've got a few buildings that are a part of the map itself. Custom silos that are a part of the map, as well as required mods. And then we have our farmhouse. We have the half-timbered farmhouse building, farmhouse pack. As far as production goes, we do have some production listed here. Now, these are all productions that are pre-placed on the map. I do not believe that these are custom in any way. Aside from the required mods, we do not have any custom animals. Other than our chickens here, and they do look like they are set up for those new crops. Got some custom trees that are included with the map. Take a look at our ground textures here. We have our animal mud, our asphalt, concrete, another flavor of concrete. We have some stamped cracked concrete. We have our stamped concrete there. Dirt, forest ground, grass, gravel. We have concrete, but it's really cobblestone. Another form of concrete that's just what looks like decorative pavers. Concrete decorative pavers. More decorative pavers. We have some decorative lattice work. Cobblestones that are different than our previous cobblestones. We have rock. We have wet sand. And as far as our plants go, we've got the fairly standard farm sim plants with some flowers. There were standard trees there, but under decorative, we do have trees also. So we have a medium poplar, maple, big, very big elm, medium elm, small elm. We have a serviceberry and a birch. So take a look at our ground textures here. Put the trees down and now they are blocking our view. We have that cracked stamped concrete. Some pavers or some decorative concretes. First cobblestones. Decorative concrete bricks. Then we have our concrete pavers there. Some more bricks. We have that lattice work. More cobblestones. We have our rock. And we have our wet sand. And then we have our big trees that are placeable here on the map. Let's get a little altitude, and now we'll get on with our flyover portion of the map. And to the south, we're going to go, and this is where we find our first optional farm. I've gone ahead and bought all of these farmlands, so we do have access to all the farm triggers. And I think, as you're going to see, other than the addition of the animals, we pretty much have all of the features that we had at the first farm. We've got silo storage. We have solid fertilizer storage. We have a silo for our seed and mineral feed. scattered around here somewhere. Now, all the other farms are using the half timbered pack with respect to the farm buildings and such. And again, we have this shed here, which cannot be sold on every farm. Now, the southern part of the map is pretty much exclusively fields. This map is fairly flat. We have our cloth dealer. You believe I see our dairy directly north of the cloth dealer. Let's go ahead and talk then about our 12 productions that are built into the map. We have a windmill for flour processing. We have a sugar mill, carpentry, spinnery, a tailor, grain mill, cereal factory, a bakery, a dairy, fish farming, a sawmill, and a biogas plant. I believe our fish farming is directly below, right here, right next to the animal dealer. And then this is going to be the second viable farm. Looks remarkably similar to the one we just left, does it not? There are several sell points and productions here in town. You'll see that there are some high-powered utility poles that are running through the field. I like to call these power towers, for lack of any better terminology. Those do have collisions. So if you do own a field that has a power tower running through it, well, you will have to avoid it if you are working the field, or if your hired helpers are working the field, they will avoid it for you. Here we have our third player farm. And then directly across the street, we have the firehouse. Now, the firehouse is on buyable land. So I did go ahead and buy that also. I believe that that will then make us be able to make use of the firehouse, which might be important if you are playing with the emergency pack. Now, I said that this map had decorative sheep. And you're going to find those decorative sheep up here to the north, to the extreme northern edge of the map. All the way across the northern edge, here we are going to have decorative sheep. And again, this is on unbuyable land. So if we go ahead to our lands, you're going to see that they are right up here, and we cannot buy that land. In fact, the sheep are also going to come down along this area here as well. But that is not buyable. There's a field here that is 248. That is buyable, but this is not. So I'm not really sure why the description references that you could place animals there. As we move across the northern edge of the map, let's just go ahead and kind of look across the map and to the south. So you have our sawmill, the grain sell point. We have our biogas plant. And I did test the biogas plant as far as if we can sell the BGA, and you cannot. So you do not have the option of selling the biogas plant. But if you do own this land, you can sell some of these supporting buildings that are around the BGA, including this ultra-wide pull-through silage bunker. But the BGA itself is going to be permanently a part of the map. Let's make our way over here to the western edge, where I'll show you how the sheep do continue on down the western side of the map. So we can see them right here. And then up and over, this is a part of that buyable land that is farmland ID 248. It's going to continue along the coast. There's more of our sheep. The 248 is right here. And it runs all the way down to the bottom. So let's make my way back over to the vehicle dealer. We're going to buy our Mahindra and drive around. Check out all of the 3 player farms as well as the various sell points and production points. Back at the dealer. Do have our dealer trigger at the main door here. Let's go ahead and pick up that Mahindra. This will also allow us to see where our new vehicles are going to be spawning in at. You appear to have a fairly large area for those vehicles to spawn in at, but do note we will have to exit this dealership through this entryway here, and it does have a gate with collisions. As far as the road network go, we do have various obstacles that we are also going to have to avoid. That is going to somewhat limit the width of the machinery that we're going to be able to pull out of the shop. With respect to the shop, we do have our maintenance and dealer trigger located right here. And, well, seems like some boys have been down here and have left some of their toys. And we all know what that means. They are collectibles. Do have a working fuel pump here, also down at the dealership, as well as a pressure washer. Now, I think what we'll do is we'll just come down here to the south and make our way over to the first player farm, which will then cover the south, because everything else is going to be basically from about mid-map to the north. I do want to apologize. I am going to be trying to mute the mic as best I can during the recording of this video, but I am currently trying to recover from a case of bronchitis, and at some times I will just get into a coughing fit. So I do believe that I have been successful so far in mostly muting that, but again, if I just suddenly go quiet, well, I think you know what's going on. Down here at the southern farm, we have our slurry pit for our cow shed. Within the cow shed, right at the middle, we have our food and straw trough trigger. Over here we have our milk trigger. We have our animal dealer, our drop-off trigger, 200 cows total in this facility. And we do have a manure heap as well. We have our 2 bale and pallet storage sheds, as well as the large machine shed. The shed for which we cannot sell. We have slurry storage. We have a 3-sided silage bunker. But again, all the farms are going to be laid out pretty much identical. Just the orientation may be slightly different. Here we have our pig delivery point. Slurry pit. I'm trying to get this. There we go. 25 pigs in total. We have our food and straw inside of the facility. We have our main farm silo. Or should I say, one of our main farm silos. We have our solid fertilizer building. Because we have a second farm silo located inside of this shed. So here we have the dump point, and we should have the fill pipe over here on this side. Then we're going to have storage throughout. We have our chicken coop, 2,000 chickens. I think that would completely fill up this coop. We have our eggs, and we have our food trough. Again, we have these curbs. Again, if you sell the dog, the curbs will go away. We have fuel storage. We have the doghouse, and then we have our sleep trigger. And that is basically how we're going to find all of the other farms as well on our tour. Let's go ahead and take a look at our animal food overview screen. Since we've already bought just one of each animal, we really don't need to worry too much about the others. Cows looks fairly standard. Remember, we do have straw harvest enabled. That is why these pellets are coming up. Grass, sheep, and pellets for our sheep looks pretty standard. Pigs looks pretty standard as well as horses. And then chickens are where we have some customization. Wheat, millet, triticale, or spelt is going to be available as chicken feed. Let's make our way to the north now, back to the shop. Then we'll double around and we'll hit the big town in the middle of the map. That appears to be where most of these triggers are going to be located. Let's get on with our scoring metrics. We mentioned that the map has 12 productions built in, so we are going to be giving the map a full point with respect to production being built in or areas set aside for such. With respect to the ability to sell all of our basic crops, animal outputs, and production items, once again, we are going to be giving the map a full point there as well, because we definitely do indeed have the ability to do those things. With respect to the can of farms be customizable, we're going to be giving the map 3/4 of a point. We are taking off a 1/4 point because we do have 4 instances where we have the same building for which we cannot sell. Now, I don't believe that it is going to overly affect one's ability to customize the farms, because the way those are set up, I really don't feel that those buildings are directly in the way, but they are not sellable, so we will be taking a 1/4 point off. We do have our interactive trigger for our dairy located right there. That means we're going to have our dump point and our pallet spawn points around the back. A little tight getting in and out of here. The description did say that this map was set up for medium-sized machinery. And I would say also be prepared for medium to small-sized trailers and such with respect to getting around the map. We make our way around the windy residential road in order to get, I think, deeper into the town. Here we have our fuel point. Then we do have a sell point trigger over here at our gas station. The map is very well decorated. All of the houses have very nice decorations around them in the yards. I like seeing these guardrails around. We had a nice little area there. We have a sitting area with benches and bikes. Let's make our way down this street, which appears to be connected to several productions. First up, we have our spinnery. So we're at pallet point, dump point, and our interactive point. Right next to that, we do have our carpentry. Very narrow entries in here. So interactive point, dump point, our wood cell trigger, and our pallet spawn point. believe this is going to be a sell point. A tavern sell point. This is going to be our tailor. So we have our pallet point. We have our interactive point. We have our dump point. And we have our wardrobe trigger. Pallet point, dump point, and then this is going to be our bakery. Morgan's Bakery. Across the street from Morgan's Bakery. We then have our dump point. Pallet point and interactive point for our sugar mill. Let's go ahead and check PDA and make sure that we hit all of the ones that we wanted to. We have our bakery, we have our sugar, we have our tailor, carpentry, we have Aunt Emma's shop, that is the sell point, and then we have our spinnery. We have our dairy down the road here. As well. Let's try to get our way over here to the west. To the west. Watch out for the traffic. They are running through here pretty hot and heavy. Here we have our cereal factory. Dump point, pallet, and interactive point. We have our second player farm that we're going to look at right here. We're not going to jump out and walk around all the triggers, but I will just drive through here so you kind of get a good sense that this is pretty much set up the same. Just slightly different layout to all the structures, or orientation, I should say. Layout's the same. Just the orientation is going to be changed around a little bit. And with that covered, let's go ahead and move over here. Check out the rest of these production and sell points. We have our fish farming. So we have our dump point. We have our fill point for various things. We have our pallets for our fishies. And then we have our interactive point located right there. Just beside our fish farming, we do have our animal dealer. So we have a bale cell trigger located here for hay, straw, grass, silage, pellets, etc. Then we're going to have our animal trigger located over here. Maybe not. Sorry, fellows and gents. Yeah, the animal dealer. Let's go back. What are we missing? A floaty blue eye. Are we missing a floaty blue icon, people? It would appear maybe we are. We are indeed. Tisk tisk on us. Flirty blue icon is no more. Then we have a grain sell point and a fill point. So here we're going to be able to buy bulk seed, lime, and fertilizer. Then we have our grain sell point on the other side of the building. I don't know about you, but I'm seeing a ton of those Elm Creek collectibles. I don't even have to point them out. Here we have a farmer's market. Sell point for various products, including logs. Pretty much anything we can produce, including the premium expansion items. Yeah, let's double back. Watch out for the DHL delivery van. Lots of pedestrians. I don't think the game lets you turn pedestrians off. What do you think of that idea? Of being able to turn pedestrians off. Is that something you'd be interested in? Here we have seed, lime, and fertilizer again. And then we're going to have our dump point for selling grain and such around the back. Let's make our way over to the west. You have a couple hotspot points of interest over here. Take a general look at. Now, with respect to buildings where appropriate are using the new texturing technique. I'm going to be giving the map a full point there as well. We are having buildings with the new texturing technique. A lot of the production buildings and such are standard FS22 buildings. We do have some custom buildings around the town. We did take a close look at those, and they all appear to be making use of the new texturing technique. There's another DHL van. You know what? They don't deliver very regular to us. They seem to deliver very well to this map. We have another grain sell point over here along the western side of the map. With our dump point. And let's swing back around. Because I do believe... Nope, okay. Yep, here it is. So we are going to have a seed and fertilizer and lime buy point as well. Don't mind me, I only get lost sometimes. Here we have another sell point. Very narrow getting around these things. Very narrow. There we have our dump point. Definitely are going to need to pay very close heed to the size of the vehicles and trailers, the length of the trailers that you use when navigating these roads, these sell points, and production areas. Big semis are probably out. Trailer trains are probably out as well, unless you are a very, very skilled driver. Make our way across the top part of the map. Some varying topography going on. Some windy roads. Some nice background sounds with respect to frogs and birds and such. Here we have our biogas plant. Biogas plant is set up with entry and exit scales. We have our large pull-through silage bunker. We have slurry storage. 3-bay garage for our BGA machinery. Then we have our dump point for our silage, our slurry, our interactive point. We have our fill point for our digestate. We have another grain sell point located right here. And then a fill point again for, let's all say it together, seed, solid fertilizer, and lime. Just to the east of this grain sell point, we are then going to find our sawmill. So we have our interactive point. We have our fill point for our wood chips. We have our dump point. We have our wood cell trigger. And we have our pallet spawn point right there. Very well decorated again. Cell points, production points. Does aid significantly with respect to making one feel that a map is very well populated. Not just a barren farmland wasteland that we are all working in. And just a few more points of interest here as we make our way around the northeastern corner of the map. We have just an open air sell point here. The community sell point. We then have a supermarket, garden center, grain mill, lime station, ag center, and then the farm. Here we have our grocery with our sell point at the loading bay. Go back to this road. At least they're driving on the correct side of the roads. The garden center. We're going to have our dump point actually inside of here. So there we have our sell point. And over here we had the buy point for the bulk products. Then we have our grain mill. So we have our dump point, interactive point, and a pallet spawn point. We have another fill point for our seed, lime, and fertilizer. We have our grain dump point then around the back. Directly across from that, we're going to have our third and final player farm. Total of 4 farms are going to be available on this map. I think this map would make an excellent multiplayer map, given the fact that we have 4 decent farm setups and a whole lot of fields to work with. So again, the exact same field and farm, not field, exact same farm layout as we have already seen. So we're not going to stop by all the animals and such. If you've seen one, you've seen all, again, on this particular map layout. And again, you have to sell the dogs in order to get rid of these concrete curbs. Here we have the firehouse for those that are wanting to roleplay with the emergency pack. That is a buyable building. Then the last thing we're going to take a look at here is the windmill. So we have our pallet spawn point, we have our interactive icon, and we have our dump point. Now, with respect to our final scoring metric, trigger and player interactive areas being clearly marked. I really hate doing this, to just take a quarter of a point off for one little niggle, but the lack of a floating blue icon at the animal dealer was a point of confusion and contention. I would think that it would also maybe bring a little bit of confusion to a player who's just trying to figure out where to buy their animals from, and without really studying the PDA significantly, maybe not really sure where that's going to happen. So we will be taking a quarter of a point off there. That's still going to give this map a very, very respectable score of 4.5 out of 5. I'd love to know what you all think of this map. Please put down in the comments what you think. Is this a map that you played before it was reloaded? And what do you think of the reloaded edition? And as always, happy farming!